So looking at the rhythm, we're reversing what happened in the first chorus. We're taking that triplet feel, anticipating the triplet feel, the dot, 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 and we're applying it to the one chord idea here, and then taking the swing eighth idea that we've had first over the one chord in the first chorus and putting it over the four chord. So also, we're extending the chord tone idea. So in the first place, we had 3-5-3 with a half step approach to that second third. This time we're going to use that slower to third again and have a way to walk up, this vision of G. Remember, in a G blues, one chord is G7. We're just coming up the G major arpeggio or G major chord in this vision. But like I was saying before, we're doing it in a way that we can not just literally play those notes. So we're coming up with a slur to third and a nice bend up to the third. Then we're going to take that same, very similar move and permutate it up to the four chord, same position. It's a nice answer to that triplet rhythm now with the swing eighth rhythm. Same thing, slurring of the thirds and end up with a bend to the flat three. There's that half step of major third of the one, flat seven of the four chord. You're going to see that one over and over again. Great melodic voice leading tool. Same shift over to the position shift to play the next motif, which alters the original motif a bit. We're going to throw the 5 and put it in the position of the 6. Slur to third, and we're going to play a 6-1 in there. 6-1 is just effective, as I was saying before, in Sussy Strut, 6-5. 6-5 is a great tag. 6-1 is a great forward motion, the melodic device. So there's your motif there that's going to come back, like we were saying before, in the first solo. Bars 3 and 4, 7 and 8. They're good answers to what's going on in bars 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. That's exactly what's going on here. So this is the response. And it's all chord tones. What's going on in bar 4 of the third bar is matching what's happening in the comping rhythm. And it's going to happen again when we get to bars 7 and 8. So moving over to 5 and 6, it's going to stick with the same rhythmic sequence, triplets and then swing eighths. And they're going to stick with the same approach. We're going to do that same shape here for the 4 chord. So it's all the same stuff. Slur to third, 5, 1, bend up to the 3. Chord tones all the way. And then come up, though, we're going to play the swing eighth, but we're going to change the vision of what's going on here because we're still at the 4 chord. So, a nice 5, 6. 6 is always a great tone, as I'm saying before, to throw in here. It's non-threatening. So it's a good tone to build melodies with when you're using mostly chord tones. So aside from the 6, it's 5, 1, and slur to third. And then we're going to respond with that same idea for the 1 chord. But this time, to match the 6-9 slides, we're going to go 5 to root. It's pretty cool, if you compare it to the first time. There's the 5, unison bend with the 5 over the 1 chord. And then 5 to 1. It gives it, a sense of resolution because we're shooting up to the 1. And it really makes it feel like the 8 bars have done something, they've begun, they've told a story, they're finished. But we still got the turnaround to contend with. So let's take the ideas of and throw that over to the 5 chord, but without being so obvious. Let's do something a little different here. Let's walk up with the triplets, but instead of going up to the 3rd here, let's shoot right to the root. And then let's go to swing eighths, just like we did before with 1 to the 4 in bars 1 and 2, and then staying with the 4 in bars 5 and 6, and put it within the same measure. So, squeeze it together and it sounds great over the 5 chord. So you're playing that same arpeggio, but just with 2 different rhythms. And it has a nice ebb and flow to it. And you'll come down with, if you can look at it horizontally, meaning going across the changes with this same idea, you're playing a flat 7 to that D. It feels like you're coming to the flat 7, if you're looking at it from a D7 vision. But really what you're doing is nailing the root. A half-step bend, as we were saying before, these very cool bends, half-step bend to the root of the 4 chord. So over the 5, that is meant to meet that 4 chord. Now, the fact that we're bending on a B over a 4 chord, which is C7 and has a B flat, is that a bad thing? Nah, because we never hear that B. That half-step bend shoots right up there. So these half-step approach bends, it doesn't matter what you're bending on. If it's for the chord, great. If it's not, it's okay. As long as you don't. See, that would have got you in trouble. But that's not what we're doing here. So we're going to anticipate the final 2 bars, just like we've been using this lick. We're going to anticipate with flat 3 to 3. Is that same lick we've played all the way in the beginning, except we're throwing it up an octave. We're at that, we're at the very end. We're trying to throw some action in here at the end to really drive this whole thing home. So we're going to come in with that triplet rhythm once again. So that's played, as a foundational rhythm for us to keep coming back on. But we didn't play it the whole time. We kept responding to it with swing eighths, or again. But we're going to bring back that rhythm here at the end. And we're going to check out that bend move that we saw in Sussy Strutt's second solo, where we bend from the flat 3 up to the 4, and then get to the 3. So we get that really cool 4 to 3 melody. But in a way that sounds hip. We didn't literally play it. Yeah, that doesn't sound very cool. That does, though. Okay. Let's shift things around, just like we did in the third solo for Sussy Strutt here in Larry's Trick. We're going to take the third solo because there's a big shift in what's going on in the comp rhythms. If you look at your charts, you're going to see that there's minor 7 chords being put in front of the primary chords. So we need to deal with that. So let's hear the solo and see how the licks or the motifs got morphed into fitting over this.